Buenas tardes y gracias por acompañarme otra vez en el community.
It is most important that families and communities engage together and support each other.
Porque hay muchísimos esfuerzos en nuestra comunidad y ya me he dado cuenta.
If someone need from me, contact me anytime.
We're here to support our students and our families.
Good afternoon, and thank you all again for joining us for Face It, a program to help us keep connecting with our families during these challenging times. Face It is presented by Fayette County Public Schools and the 16th District PTA. My name is Lindsay Mattingly. I'm a District Family and Community Engagement Liaison, and I am very excited to talk with you all about the importance of family engagement with a frequent co-conspirator of mine. Sylvie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sylvie Jairaj. I'm a parent at Rise STEM Academy for Girls. I'm also the president of the PTA there.
Yes. Now, Sylvie, we are going to talk today about family engagement, what it means to you, some different things about family engagement. And I know you and I have these discussions a lot, so I can't wait to share it with other people. So my first question, what does family engagement mean to you?
So I think it's kind of an evolving definition for me, but I would say at this point, kind of all-encompassing that family engagement is how the school, the families, and the community work together to support a child's education.
I like it. How does your engagement, how do you feel like your engagement helps your child or your children succeed at school?
So I do come from a research background, and I think that research from many different aspects keeps telling us that families are the most important factor in a child's education. So I think that if we can enter families in any child's education, however they can be involved, we can create the best environment to support each child to reach their potential.
I love that. Have you faced any barriers to engagement?
So my parents came from India, so I definitely saw those barriers as a child, whether they were cultural or a language difference. Lindsay and I have talked about, if you make a baseball reference, like it was over our heads, like we didn't understand and we needed cricket. But I think that also as a parent now with COVID, suddenly there's this huge barrier. We're not see our teachers, I laugh because sometimes my daughter tells me things. I'm like, is that true? Or is she making it up? And I see how that barrier has grown and become a challenge for all families. I feel like we know those, like we talk about the cultural barriers and the language barriers, parents' attitudes, like especially in the PTA, like, oh, I was that person. I'm not really a PTA parent. Maybe how we feel the teachers, like, are we asking too many questions? I don't want to be that parent. But I also think that, time is sometimes a barrier, like, oh, I want to be involved in my kid's education, but how do I make the time for it? And I know as a PTA president, it's how do we try to engage parents meaningfully that we're helping them and we're not creating like another stressor in time of COVID.
Yeah, that is a challenge. That's something we talk about a lot in our office, about how family engagement doesn't have to be one more thing on top of what we do. We just have to do what we're already doing differently. We just have to be more intentional about it.
Absolutely.
I'll also say, even though COVID has definitely been a barrier, I think it's also shown a lot of our families and a lot of our staff. It's created a lot of relationships too, because when we were basically spending time in each other's living rooms, that's a whole different, whole different view. So
I actually think that's one of the things that has overcome barriers is like, Zoom. Like our PTA discussed that. I don't think we want to get rid of Zoom for our meetings, because how amazing is it to like sit in your kitchen making dinner while you attend your PTA meeting?
Yeah.
It's,
It's
you know,
definitely,
I feel like time is one of the biggest barriers. And I think COVID showed us that too, you know, in a good way, because we had to slow down, and in a bad way, because, you know, it made challenges to the way that we know to make relationships.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to hear the word pivot ever again after COVID. But what have you noticed? What has your child's school done to make engagement easier?
So I feel from my perspective, the first thing was just being welcoming. Like, I'm definitely that person that doesn't want to feel like I'm being pushy or, you know, asking too much. And I feel like our school has really just been very vocal about, we want you to be part of our community. We want you to be part of our school. I think hard to communicate. And I think COVID, I don't know if it helped it or hindered it, because of course our school started during COVID, but I felt like the effort to communicate with us was there. Things like Zoom meetings, like just even like parent-teacher meetings. It would be really hard sometimes, certain times, to get to our school, especially because we are, you know, a magnet school. So we don't all live in our neighborhood. So having the option to meet people on Zoom has helped me build relationships. Also, free access to events. Like our school really tries to make everything accessible financially for everyone, and trying to, you know, even as a PTA, we've thought about when are they available? Because a lot of us aren't available at 3:00 in the afternoon. And so try to consider, I think time is still a big barrier for all of us. So yeah, that's how I think our PTA is working on that, working on trying to figure out how we can take away more barriers.
Yeah. Well, if you had to give advice to parents or families about how to be more engaged, what would you say?
So I think first I would say talk to your child, because I think they're going to be the first one to tell you what they need. I think that's one thing you and I are learning with our diversity and inclusion meetings, is we don't know what people need. And I think when we want to engage our kids, we have to talk to them first and see what they need. And then look at your time and your talents. I've seen that a lot with parents on our PTA, that when they engage with something that they're interested in and they're talented in, then it's not adding a burden, but it's adding something that they can enjoy. So, you know, take that first step and try it out. I mean, you can always say no next time if you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's absolutely something that I really want to encourage our schools to get in the habit of, is really asking our parents, you know, what hidden talents do you have? What hobbies do you have that
absolutely.
you would like to share with us?
Yeah,
I
feel like we've only scratched the surface, but I've met so many parents with so many different talents that I'm impressed. And I know that, you know, it's that it takes a village. Like, I'm not great at art, but we have a lot of parents with some great ideas, and my daughter has already benefited from their thoughts and ideas. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sylvie, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you all out there for watching, as always. And we want to hear from you between shows. We have said it many times, so please give us a call, send us an email, text us, and join us again next month on Thursday, April 21st at 6:30. We're going to be talking about transitions next month. So we're going to talk about advice and tips on parents who are helping their elementary school kids navigate into middle school, and middle schoolers transitioning to high school. As always, thank you all for watching, and let's face it together.